All right, guys, welcome to Elevate Mentorship Call, week number 20, I believe. My name is Joey Wilson. I'm a Chairman 100 here with IM Mastery Academy, and this is Elevate Mentorship. It's a 26-week series leading to Elevate Orlando Convention. This is where we bring on some of the absolute best that not just this company has to offer, but this industry worldwide. And so if you've gotten some value out of these calls before, guys, type some fire emojis in the chat, and also type in the chat where you guys are calling in from. I'm here in Southern California, and we got Wisconsin on the call. I know we got some people in New Zealand on the call. We got Austin, Texas. We got Dallas, Texas. I know Canada, Indiana. We got Minnesota, Austin, Texas, Arkansas, California, Iowa. Let's go. Welcome to the call, guys. Super excited, super fired up for tonight. Before we jump into it, listen, step number one is make sure you reach out to a few more people in your organization and get them on this call. Do not let them miss these calls. I'm telling you, these calls changed everything for me in my business throughout the years. For real, it was that midweek pick me up, that midweek battery recharge, where I'd hop on here and listen to the top people and how they're crushing it, or the rising stars and what they're doing to have breakthroughs. And here I am getting on these calls as a 22, 23, 24-year-old kid. I'm thinking to myself, dude, this is crazy. If this guy can do it, I can do it too. Like, this guy was struggling just like I was. This girl was struggling just like I was, and they broke through to the next level. And so it always gave me that energy and the knowledge and wisdom to go to the next level in this industry. And so that's our hope for you guys as well. It's just that midweek re-energizer leading into Elevate Orlando Convention. But so step number one is make sure you reach out to your network and get them on this call. Do not let your people miss these calls. Step number two is make sure you're taking notes, because we all know the reality. You're probably going to forget 90% of the information that you hear tonight if you're not taking notes. And then number three, there may or may not be income talked about on these calls. So there's no income guarantees, right? Your success or failure depends on your own skill set and personal effort. Okay. And so we're going to jump right into it. We're not going to take up too much time. But this is going to be a power 30 minutes, a power 45 minutes, or however long she wants to take it. But I can just tell you one thing, there's going to be value dropped on this call. I'm going to be taking notes, because this is one of the people that I would listen to back in the day that would help me elevate my business to the next level. Matter of fact, check this out. I got in this industry in 2012. I don't know, she got in 2013, 2014 after me. And I hit the third highest rank in the company, and she flew right past me, her and her husband, and went to the absolute top of the company. And I remember watching her on stage, and I'm thinking to myself, this lady knows what she's doing. This girl knows what she's doing. She's an absolute boss when it comes to this industry right here. Not just when it comes to this industry, but when it comes to just being a boss in general in life. So tonight you guys are going to get a lot of value from her. She's a Chairman 25. She's an MMX educator. She's a mother. She's a wife, and she is at the top of the game, guys. And she's also in the on the IM advisory board, where the big decisions for the company are made as well. And so with that being said, I'm going to pass it over and type fire in the chats for Mrs. Wanda Webb. Super happy to have you on this call, and grateful that you're taking time out of your day to hop on here and share some value with the organization.
I am so grateful, Joey. I appreciate you. You guys, you have an amazing leader. I've literally watched Joey from when he got into network marketing, and his energy was just so contagious. I really believe there's just something that happens in this industry. Like, when people are kicking butt in your sideline, like, there's a synergy that happens. And I remember Joey and I were responsible for making a couple of millionaires in that company. There were a lot of millions made. And then that seed was sown back to us here in this company. And I can tell you, in the last 10 years, you know, when I have bad days, guys, I have bad days, I have to look back at that total income earned in the last 10 years. And real talk, I could not have done that with nursing, okay? Several millions and millions that my husband and I have made. And flying an airplane and being a nurse, we're not going to do that for us. So I'm still grateful. I'm unsatisfied and grateful. And so congratulations, guys, for being on this call. Like tonight, what I really want is I just want you to feel like you're sitting down with a good friend, with someone that you trust, who's about to just give you some insight into the mission that you have and why you're here and what you're doing in this space. And so I've been in this industry now for 10 years. I was the absolute worst person you could have possibly ever recruited into something like this. The truth is I had privilege because I was married to someone with dynamite energy who on day one saw potential when I was scared. And I didn't make my first sale for 8 months, okay? And I'm gonna tell you what changed. Let me write that down because ADD is real. I'm gonna tell you what changed in that 8th month. And I'm going to give you a secret to something that nobody can argue with because it's proven, it's science, it's behavioral science, it's neurological. And when you have been in a people industry for this long, boy, you get to know people. And I can tell you that getting to know people has been probably one of the best skill sets that I've ever been given. That discernment, that, you know, really network marketing and the Holy Spirit mixed put inside of me. And so for 8 months, I didn't make a sale. And when I made that first sale, I sold them on the rep only package. Okay, I did that. And that was my truth for a long time in this company, or in this industry rather. And my husband was the opposite. He was on day one calling people like, listen, I don't got time to explain this to you, bro. You rocking with me or not? It's a couple $100. Like, give me the benefit of the doubt. And people signed up with him. And I watched and I watched. And, you know, I'm so grateful. Some of you are about to just learn something right now. One thing that my husband and I never did, and honestly, at first, we didn't even know what we were doing until we learned how important it was. We never went to events without each other. And you guys, that's so hard. Like, you have no idea what it's like to try and create childcare for multiple children that are in diapers. And if you're thinking, well, maybe you're just a better mom than I was and you would never leave your kids, good for you. But I'm going to tell you, I'm a hell of a mom, and being a mom is the most important thing in my life. But there were so many times that I understood clear as day that if I didn't go make a change for my family, I was going to have to get comfortable with the life that we had. We were going to have, my husband was a great provider, but we were not living the life we really wanted. And I was going to have to get used to saying no a lot to myself, to my kids, and to those little dreams that you just think are just really cute in the back of your mind that you have no idea are actual purpose. And so my husband and I, at a very young age when we both met, and we had real conversations right away. I knew I was gonna marry this man a couple of weeks in because he was the first guy who didn't laugh at me when I pulled out Rich Dad Poor Dad from my purse and tried to casually insert it into our conversation on the first or second date. He actually was like, can I take this book? And I really didn't want to give it to him because I didn't know if I was feeling him yet, you know, because damn, now I have to definitely commit to see him again. But luckily I liked him. So I gave him the book. And at 4 a.m., this man calls me and I'm thinking, excuse me. I don't know who you think I am at 4 a.m., but I answered the phone and he asked, can you get off work? I know you're supposed to show up in 4 hours. Can you get off work? I finished reading this book. I want to drive around and look at some potential rental properties. And let me tell you something, that was the best foreplay conversation I ever had in my life, okay? I knew that was my husband. And I just was so excited about someone who just believed that they could do these silly things they were reading in this book. And man, there was 99% of it I didn't understand. Can I be real? When I first read that book, 99% of it I didn't understand. I'm like, mortgage, what the hell is a mortgage? I didn't understand, but I had to read it a couple times and then understand like 10% more. But when my husband and I started getting in our very first little rental property and we were like, can we do this? That book came to life. In the action I was taking, the knowledge came to life, not the other way around. It was in the action I was taking. It was in the uncertain action I was taking when I was like, I don't know. This feels scary, but I was moving. That's when knowledge came to life. So many of us have been in this industry for years and years and years, and we've got all this knowledge, but that knowledge has not come to life because there is a difference between a word and a living word. And when those words became living for me, I understood what a mortgage was. And I understood you could leverage a couple of them. And that was the first business deal my husband and I ever went into, was real estate together. And then from there, we're like, bigger. Well, what else can we do? So my husband invented this kitchen invention. It's amazing. Still to this day, we have it. And then we're like, bigger. What else can we do? And as we were expanding, as our appetite was expanding, opportunity was coming into our life. And in 2012, December 2012, I reconnect with an aunt on Facebook. And it's a little weird because I don't really know her like that. And within 2 conversations, she's saying, you need to travel with me. Long story short, we got into network marketing and we weren't that good. Randy was tenacious. And I was just kind of like behind him, like, whatever he says, you know, and this came to life for us because we were in action. We were doing all the wrong things. And that's how we learned how to do the right things. How do you think we learned that passing out flyers doesn't work? Take a guess. How do you think that we learned that shoving a mailer in someone's mailbox or on their car doesn't work? How do you think that we learned that only building online and leaving those relationships online doesn't work? Because we failed a lot. And I think there's this story in our head that we think that if we're good at this, that we'll fail less than the next person. Not true. Anything you're good at, you have to suck at for a while. Anything you're good at and passionate about today, you gave yourself permission to be bad at for a while. But for some reason, we get into these atmospheres and we don't give ourselves permission to stink at it, to fumble the press, to mess up the invite, to do it backwards, to say the wrong thing, to verbally vomit. Just do it. Just mess it up. I'm giving you permission to grow in front of us. And that is one of the highest forms of love you can give someone, is to tell them you are allowed to grow in front of me. And I won't laugh. And I will cheer you on. And I do believe you. And that wasn't that strong of an invite, but she'll do better. That's not how I handle that objection, but you did it. Just try and mess up and enjoy messing up. So you can at least create a story for when you get good and people are going to be like, I wish I could talk like that. I got good at the 8-month mark because I had already been to 2 events. That's why I got good. I got great. I would say around the 16th to like 18th, like that 2-year mark, I got good. I went from crying, hoping they would not answer, that it would go to voicemail, to wishing they would give me endless objections. I got good at this. And I should not have gotten that good at this because I really stunk, y'all. No backbone, no posture. I could barely get my voice from not shaking. People would be like, are you crying? No, I'm just really nervous. Like, I'm about to cry. Now I am. Like, I stunk at this. There's not a reason anyone should have bought anything from me. But I gave myself permission to suck at it long enough. And I kept showing up to the environments that were going to expand my mind, expose me to a life that I hadn't seen, expose me to a thinking I hadn't seen. They expanded my mental territory. And they gave me belief. I would get to an event, and there was sometimes I got to an event and maybe you wouldn't be able to tell, but I had a little chip on my shoulder. My numbers were down, my rank was dropped, or whatever was happening in my life. And I would get to that event kind of like let's see if they can impress me. You know when you got a chip on your shoulder. And what would happen is I would be reminded that this is supposed to be a little difficult, that you're supposed to mess it up, that it can be hard, that there was nothing wrong with me. I wasn't broken. I just had to give myself permission to keep getting better at something. And I got better at this. This is what I got better at. And it has paid me well. And even in down seasons, I can complain, but I'll tell you what I'm not doing. Filling out resumes. Like, as much as it sucks, I can't get myself to finish a resume. Every time I think, forget it, I'm just gonna get my job back. I'm gonna dust this license off and I'm gonna have to deal with no people. Ain't that funny? Like, we think if we go do something else that we won't have to deal with people. And so I'm not gonna have to deal with people. And then it gets to like where I have to sell myself, right, through skill sets. And I have to, let me not diss you. If you are having to make big boy and big girl decisions to put food on your table, you better do that. But I know that I'm spoiled sometimes, and I know that I'm entitled. And I know that what I once called a miracle, I now take for granted, and I look at it with a different lens. Because every time I go, okay, I don't want to do this no more, let me go get a job. As soon as I get to like my 5th click on the website, I'm like, man, let me do a presentation. I'm tripping. And it reminds me, because I don't know if you're like this, but I can grow numb to good things. Like there's been things in my life that I begged God for, and I didn't think I would get them. And then I got them, and I kept them. And then my human self, because this is how we are, I grew numb to it. It wasn't as special anymore. And when that happens, now you change your eye. And now you start to notice the little things, and you start to focus on those things, and that becomes bigger. You ever been dating somebody and they just get annoying to you? And then you're just like, could you like not breathe like that? Right? You just know it's not meant to be, right? Everything. That's what we do. As humans, we grow numb to miracles. It's one of our flaws. And I know this because every single day, you and I witness thousands and thousands of miracles, but we don't realize they're miracles because we just call that life. It's just life. It's what it is. And I remember when I first saw this company in the position that I was in to make a decision. And when I thought, like when I saw this, I said, really? 10,000 a month for 500 customers? Now it's less because the packages have changed. And I'll go, really? There's something there that we don't see. You know, maybe it's up to, you know, I had a little compensation PTSD, my past, all right? And so I thought there was code that I wouldn't understand till I got to a certain level, and then I would realize, oh, that's what they meant. But when I got here, exactly what it said is what it was. And man, that was for me at one point an absolute miracle. Just the chance to earn that kind of money for that type of work, to me at one point, that was a miracle. But if you let us tell it, if we've been here for a little while, if you let us tell it, we grow numb to it. So I have to remind myself, what was it that stood out to me that was just so compelling when I first saw this? And I have to remember that. And I bet you do too. And sometimes you need help remembering that. So I know that the number 2 wealth law is Mastermind Alliance. And the reason that it's the number 2 wealth law is because that's how important it is. Number 1 is know what you want. Number 2 is Mastermind Alliance. Just the fact that that's that law, that you need to surround yourself with people who also have definitive chief aims, who also have direct goals. It's so vital to your really existence in this space. You have to surround yourself with the people who believe just like that. And there's a reason. You are influenced by your community. You're a human being. It's what it is. You can read behavior book after behavior book. You can read sociology books. I've done it. I'm the nerd. I've done it for you. I can tell you that there is nothing that will shape your future more than what you choose as your community. I promise you. It is so important. Some of us know that because of bad things. Some of us know our heart, but also know the environments we were once in. And I had to learn that I couldn't judge my old self based on the survival decisions that she had to make. I couldn't judge her for that no more. But I also had to admit that I was heavily influenced by what I saw and what was real to me. What you surround yourself with is so incredibly important. Some people would say, well, your mindset, right? How you think, because you can outthink your environment. Yes, but a lot of us, we don't start there. That's like grad level, right? We start with baby food. When you're 5 and 6 and 7 years old, when you're 8 years old, you're not thinking, let me have a strong mindset because my atmosphere is not going to do that for me. You're not thinking that. You just want to be liked and accepted and not make people mad and safe. Later on, after life has beat you up a little bit, you're like, I got to start surrounding myself with different people. And usually it takes a couple of bad experiences, yes? And you go, man, I got to change my environment. This ain't good for me no more. Every time I'm around these people, I do this thing. Well, that's true. But it also can work for you. Surround yourself with a mastermind alliance of people that are so great, that are so much doing what they said they would do, that are good fathers. Can I tell y'all something? 100% out of 100%. Every time someone on my team is involved in any kind of side nonsense or infidelity or any of that nonsense, they don't win. They don't win. It's crazy because they don't even see it. It's like, I liked you, but now you are who you are. 100% of the time. If I can't trust you in your home, I can't trust you in my business. You got to surround yourself with people who are serious about doing the things they say they're going to do. It's literally life or death. And I didn't learn that so much later. I'm grateful that I know it, because now I tell myself, all right. So if 2023 is about losing weight, guess what I got to do? I got to get on the phone with all my healthy friends who are always in the gym. I got to. Like, that's got to be the main conversations I have. If 2023 is about making money, I've got to get around the people who are in this business who are serious about doing this. Be careful. If you start having side conversations with the other person who also has, not gotten past P150, because you're like starting to come together, you're starting to form. Be careful. We do it without knowing it. We coagulate, just like blood. We coagulate in our groups. So I want you to think about who you spend the most time with in this organization, who you talk to the most, who you texted before you got on this call, and ask yourself, does there need to be a shift? Do I need to pull more on here? It's what we do. We move like what's around us. So there's this book by T.D. Jakes called Instinct. It's like 5-6 years old. And he talks about how, like, on a biological level, we can see cells move, and how he thinks, his theory is that maybe God is always giving us clues. And I think that too. And so I think that everything is a clue. Everything is a testimony. And so when you think about that video, when you were in high school and they showed you how the cells are all moving differently, the truth is that some of them are moving the same. And so you'll have some cells that are moving at one pace, and they will come together and coagulate, and they will make a leg. And then you'll have some cells that move at a different pace, and they will come together and they will coagulate, and they'll make a heart. And this literally happens, and we watch this happen. And I think it's a clue. I think that however we choose to move is what we will find. Why not? Why not try it? Why not do a science project and see? So if I know that, if that's a possibility, even if it's possible, how important is it that my conversations, my mindset, and my belief become contagious for myself and for others who I talk to? I got to get that contagious spirit. It's that important, because you will think yourself out of a miracle, and you will grow numb to something that is life-changing because of how you're moving. And you won't even know. You trip sometimes. Sometimes you're emotional. This. You like to react. This about you. So you got to cater to that. You kind of got to, I know I kind of get a little froggy when events come. So let me go ahead and start booking my flight. Let me go ahead and get that hotel and not postpone this. Let me go ahead and ask for a room in the Airbnb, because I know how I can be. You. And so I look at the wealth laws, and I've never done this before. I've never built generational wealth. I didn't come from it. So I have to follow the rules from people who have. First, know what you want. 2, you have to. Non-negotiable. The oxygen to your dreams is who you surround yourself with. So around that 8-month mark, I had been to 2 events already. It's feeling good. I was excited about them. Around that 2nd year mark, these were my thing. I was here. This is my event. We were doing this. You couldn't tell me anything about my company. I had an attitude now when I talked about my company. I believed. And part of my belief was because of what I was surrounding myself with. Let me tell you, I believe that none of us are going to get out of this thing alive, out of this life alive. Okay. I also believe that we're a lot more brainwashed than we like to admit. Think about it. You didn't pick the language you speak. It was given to you. So if we know that, like if we know that's how we are, why don't we just make a conscious decision on what we want to brainwash ourselves to believe and do? So I brainwashed myself to believe that I am always feeling sexy and confident and strong. Because sometimes I have a little bit of a self-esteem problem. I brainwash myself to feel like a wealthy person that makes sound decisions, that has more than enough, that is a wise investor, and I move prudently. Because if I let my old self make decisions, she doesn't do that good there. I brainwash myself for what I am and who I am. I have words, places. I have apps that give me affirmations. I write in my journal. I listen predominantly to music that is specifically building my confidence and my belief and my faith. I don't play about that. There is a lot of studies and a lot of even spiritual information on what music does. And we are starting to learn a whole lot about how big of a role music plays in our culture. I take it seriously. And when I look around at my life, there is evidence of what we have practiced for 10 years. So I'm not sure where you are in your business, but here's some milestones I want to give you. That second, third event you go to, there's like this extra boost. It's like every event now feels like 3. You're doing this now. It's what you didn't just happen to go to 3 events in a row. There's a light switch that comes on at that point. You start to leave these events and go, I am tripping. I need to keep this feeling when I go home. So when I'm talking about what I do and someone has something to say, it won't impact me as much. Now I'll be like, why'd you say that? Rude. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like that was me. I was like, before I'd be like, I know he's kidding. That second, third event, excuse me, I don't talk about your job. You know, I had something to protect. This was real to me now. So I was around my 8-month mark. There was about 2 or 3 events. But that second year, I was bulletproof. And then in the last 2 years, I've been studying human behavior, and I found out why. It takes 2 years to change someone's thinking. Did you know that? For the first 18-ish months, they have to consciously believe and do. Around that second year, they don't have to think about it so hard no more. If you're building someone from the ground up, they have 0 confidence, they don't believe they can, give them about 2 years of consistent growth. It's about 2 years. The brain takes about 2 years to really reshape those areas and to believe something different. And I look back at my journey and I'm like, I kind of see where people's 2-year mark, they make big decisions. I see it. That's pretty true with the stories in my life, at least. So if you're here and you're like, I've been here less than 2 years, congratulations. Like you haven't even hit your sweet spot yet. Maybe you're here and you're like, Wanda, I've been here 4. Okay, you got to be careful because you've grown numb to the miracle. This is the reason why they always say the 5-year itch in marriages, because around the 2nd or 3rd year, the chemical reaction that would make you have butterflies, that would make you can't keep your hands off each other, around that 3rd year, the brain starts to go, okay, that's a lot of chemical reaction every time. To help myself, I'm going to reduce the chemical load I allow myself to experience when I see this person, because I do understand now they're not going anywhere. And people wonder, like, why are we all having the same experience? Literally, the chemistry has changed. So you know this about you. You know if you've been here a little bit and the honeymoons wore off, it's not that the magic's not there anymore. It's that you don't feel it anymore. So what do? Can I just tell you? I'm so blessed to have friends all over this industry. I'm so blessed that people feel like they can come back to me and talk to me. I've watched people go from company to company to company to company. And man, I always pray that people find what they're looking for. I really do. Because I remember being in a place where I just did not know what I was supposed to do. And I realized that the change that they're looking for is seldom in the company. The change they're really looking for is inside of them. Now, sometimes that's not all the way true. Sometimes companies disappear, but that's rare. And so I watch my friends and my colleagues try multiple things. Good for them for being risk takers, but not finding what they're looking for, because the change they're looking for is not another company, it's them. Just like that person, you know, who's on their third marriage. We all have one. Come on. It's okay. No judgment. They're looking for what they're looking for. But ultimately, every time they get to the same zone, they go back, because the zone's meant to be broken. And it gets hard sometimes. So what do you do when things get hard? What behaviors do you engage in when things get hard? Do you become aloof? Do you start to turn your camera off? Do you start to ignore those messages? Do you get distant? Do you start to blame, justify, shame yourself? We're not all that different. If you get to know who you are, and then you manage you really, really well, you will win in this thing. So I want to encourage you, because listen, sometimes we'll go, man, I'm having a hard season. Do I just need to back out this thing? No, I need you to know you're human. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. And you probably need to give yourself a lot more grace and give yourself permission to really grow in this season, to take some action, to mess up some things. So I want to give you a call to action, because I believe that this knowledge needs to be put into action. I'm going to ask you to do something that successful people get used to, that have gotten used to, that the success mindset just looks at so much differently than many of us look at. And I'm going to ask you to get uncomfortable. So I'm going to list a series of activities. And when I mention something that you have not yet done or haven't ever done, I need you to write that down so that you can have a conversation with you and ask yourself, do you give yourself permission to win, to mess things up, to fail, to make mistakes? And I hope the answer is yes. So let's start small. If you've never invited anybody to this concept, this is your permission to invite someone. If you're the kind of person that's shy and scared, and you've created this story in your mind that they're going to hate you, that they're going to talk ugly about you, can I just tell you, in 10 years of doing this, that's actually like not what happens. Most people will just be like, I don't know, next, like she was showing me something, I don't know. It's not that serious. Remove the boogeyman out the closet. Nobody's going to hate you. No one's going to think they're probably going to think you're weird, but that's okay. They already think you're weird. Okay, they already think that. The world's not going to end. Your reputation's not going to die because you presented something to one person. You've done a lot worse things than that. Come on now. I want to give you permission to invite one person that you like. Can you invite the fun person, please? Like it's a vibe. Invite someone you enjoy and tell them, I got challenged to think of someone that I really enjoy and to ask myself, could they win in this atmosphere? So I want to invite you to a call. Just jump on a call. Sit. Hey, I think this might be something that you would like. I think it's your style. Not sure. Would you jump on a call? Learn how to ask a question and not explain things after. Learn how to ask a direct question and not have to explain things after, okay? If you're a parent, you can practice on your kids. So if you've never invited anyone to this concept, I want you to invite someone to this concept. I know that there's an event happening in your team soon, okay? I put money on it. 2, if you've never gone live on any social media and just talked about what it is you want, I want to challenge you to do that. You don't have to say, I want to be chairman 750. You can just say, I want financial increase. I want financial education. And I believe that that's going to give me a different life. Just share that right there. Don't get salesy on people. Don't let the network marketing things come out. Sign up. Don't do that. Okay. Just share your transparent self. What is it you want? What do you want? And be transparent. Your job is to make 50 people go, me too. That's it. The next thing I want to challenge you to do is I want to challenge you to host a launch call. Maybe you can just open up. If you're like, oh my God, I can't do that. Okay, you be the person that just opens up, plays the music in the beginning, and goes, we're going to get started in 5 minutes. Be that person. Okay, maybe you're stepped up a little bit. Now you're going to intro the speaker. Tell your story, your 60-second story. Welcome people, edify, pass. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're ready for something else. You're going to present that front half. Talk about the product. Talk about the product you enjoy. Maybe you're ready for a challenge. You can talk about that back half and ask a direct closing question from the screen and set it up good for your team that has invited. Whatever part of that makes sense to you, I want to challenge you to do that. Now listen, this is about the part where people go, oh, this was fun until she got to this part. And I'm just going to smile and pretend I'm taking notes and hope Joey never calls me. Call them all, Joey. Every single person. There's 68 of them on the line. Call them, pull on them, make them uncomfortable. Show them how you see them, the way they don't see themselves yet. Do it. Changed my life when someone handed me a clicker and I was terrified and I just did it. Changed my life because somebody signed up and I thought, I can do that? I didn't even invite them. The next thing, if you're past launch call, I want you to host a big team presentation. You reach out to your chairman and you say, put me on the calendar, coach. I make the flyer. Okay, but if you're not that good at it, let them make it, okay? But I'm gonna try to make the flyer. I'm gonna do the copy, the words that people read to get invited to the call. I'm gonna get the speakers, step up. The next thing, I'm gonna say show up to the event, but that's baby food. The people who are serious are gonna show up to the event, but there is something that you can do to show up to the event and it be different. I learned this hack, like my 3rd year into this. And I challenge everyone on my team to do this. See, because you're gonna show up to the event and you're gonna go, I heard that talk before. I know that. Chris is gonna come out. We probably have time for a snack. See, you're used to it. You're numb to the magic. Remember who you are, okay? So when you get to the event, you're like me. You're like, they say we're starting at 9. I'll be there at 9:30 because I know they're going to still be playing music. See, you already know. Anybody been going to church a while? Right? You know who the church people are who've been there a long time. They're super comfortable. They're comfortable. They're not as nervous as you are. They're eased into their seats. The seat is shaped like them. See, that's who we are because we've been to events before. So we get there and nice talk, but it's not magical anymore. And it's like, how do you get that back? I'm going to tell you how to get that back. You make sure that every time you go to an event, you always have one brand new person who's never been. Let me tell you why this works. I live in a pretty beautiful neighborhood. And behind our house, there is this bird sanctuary. They like animals out here. And I'll walk that path trying to get a little cardio in. And every once in a while, I'll take my son with me, like, trying to multitask. Come on, let's go play, burn energy, and mommy will get some calories burned. But I noticed that when I take him, he slows me down because he wants to look at every tiny thing. Mama, look a duck. Ooh, mama, look a butterfly. Mama, look at that flower. Mama, the airplane. And I'm just like, yes, baby, airplane, huh? Like, come on. And when you're a parent, there's these random things that happen where out of nowhere, you're convicted for the most random thing. In the middle of your day, you're crying. You're like, all right, God, what is this? And I take that same walk with my 8-year-old and he's like, Mama, look at the butterfly. I'm like, yeah, baby, yeah. He's like, Mama, no, look, look, look. And I look at the butterfly and it's a butterfly. But my miracle was the look on my son's face, watching him see the butterfly. And how he was just so captivated. To him, it was an absolute miracle happening in front of him. And as you get closer to it and it's not flying away, every step, he's like, oh, And to me, the miracle wasn't the butterfly. To me, I got to relive this moment to someone who wasn't numb to the magic yet. And it created new magic in me. So when you've been in this industry for 10 years, if you're not careful, you'll just become the person that sees all the mistakes. The person who complains when everything's not perfect, or who notices the lighting's off, or they played that song already, or that wasn't in the schedule. But when you show up to an atmosphere like this and you've never had this before, and you start thinking, man, can I really do this? Could I get good at this? Are they really going to help me? That's the miracle. And so when everyone else is looking at Chris Terry, I want you to look around and I want you to see the faces who haven't grown numb to it yet. They're usually not too cool to stand. They're usually locked in, sometimes even shaking. And they're having their moment. And anytime I get numb to this atmosphere, I remind myself that there's people in this room who are fighting just to believe that this is real. And I already know that it is. I want to challenge you to show up in 2023 more than you've ever shown up before. And just ask yourself, what would happen if I really did all the things they tell me to do? Like, what would happen this year? And I think it would be almost impossible to leave this year without residual income if you were that coachable. And if you allowed a miracle to happen in your life. Do you have permission? Are you allowed to grow? I'm so grateful that I get to share my story with you, to maybe plant a seed, to maybe from this side tell you it's absolutely real. And you don't even got to be that good at it, not as good as you think. You just got to be really brave. And I pray that my courage is contagious, and that even if you struggle with believing in you, that you absolutely know that we believe in you. Because I've seen some goofy people make some money in this industry, for real. And I love it. I'm so grateful. Joey, I appreciate you. Team Ambition, I appreciate you. I've been a Team Ambition fan now, like literally 9 years. And I knew this organization before it really existed. And so I'm super grateful. Thank you, Joey. I'm gonna throw this back to you, team. I can't wait to see you guys in Orlando. If you see me in Orlando, stop me, talk to me. Let's take a picture. Tell me we were on the Team Ambition call. You guys are my family. And I love that. And I need that. So if you see me, holler at me. Joey, I appreciate you, brother. I'm gonna throw this back to you.
Fire up that chat for Wanda Webb, ladies and gentlemen. She said, you don't even got to be that good. And it's funny, I was taking a shower a little bit ago, and I think about the next thing I need to train on, right? Tomorrow morning, I have 11 a.m. call with the Middle East team, and there's trainings throughout the week. And I'm just like, I always just think in my head, what am I going to train on next? And I'm like, how did I do it? Dude, you know how I did it? Because it wasn't that I'm good at this. That's not the case. Like Wanda was saying, it's because I was crazy enough to believe I actually could. I just was crazy enough to say to myself, dude, you're going to freaking do it. If Jason can do it, if Matt can do it, if Randy and Wanda can do it, I'm going to do it too. And here's what else I'll tell you. We are absolutely blessed to have Randy and Wanda in this company. That is a real thing. When I got in this company, I was so freaking scared to leave my previous one because it was going downhill fast. Some of you guys know that story. I just grabbed onto the belief of Randy and Wanda, and I went from, nothing to Chairman 10 off of telling people, yo, Randy and Wanda are doing this thing too. And it literally catapulted me. And then you get to see them on stage, and my team gets to see them on stage at these conventions. And you're just like, dude, class acts. That's what they are. They are professionals. They are true professionals at life, not just this business. And so that's what I mean. It's an absolute blessing to have people like Randy and Wanda in this company with us, steering the ship. And so very, very blessed, super excited. That was a great call. I hope you guys got some value out of it. And the last thing I'll say, guys, listen, if you don't have your ticket to Elevate Orlando convention, it's right in your back office. It's March 24th to the 26th. These events changed my life. I'm not going to sit here and hype it too much. All I'll say is this: if you want this business to work, if you want complete financial freedom, passive residual income that cover your residual bills for your dream life, you're going to be at this event. It is what it is. You're going to find a way. If you don't have the money, like I didn't have the money, you're going to find a way. If you don't have a ride, if you can't get a flight, whatever the case is, either you find a way or you're going to find an excuse. These events changed my life. And a lot of people on this call could say the same thing, and take any top earner in the industry that could get on here and say, dude, I was not good to start this business. I was just crazy enough to believe I could. I went to those events, and like Teacup Lou said the other day, he goes, I sat in the nosebleeds at the event and I watched other people winning, and I said, why not me? And what did he do? He walked for the $1 Million Hall of Fame, last year for this industry. And same thing with me. I mean, it is possible, but it starts with those big conventions. And make sure you get your ticket. Make sure your team has their ticket. And let's take this thing to the next level, guys. I appreciate everybody for hopping on Elevate Mentorship call number 20. If you missed the other ones, it's okay. You can go back to my YouTube channel. They're all there, all of them. Her husband, Randy, is on one of them. We got some of the best in the company on those calls. Matt Rosa, Alex Morton, Richard, Greg, Melanie, all the above, guys. So I appreciate it. The YouTube is type in Joey Wilson, I Am Mastery Academy. It should pop up. You'll see, or just type in Elevate Mentorship, I am, and they'll all pop up. So again, I appreciate you guys. If you need anything, reach out to me. I'd love to help you. And like Wanda said, let's set up your launch call. If you haven't already set it up, if you've already done a launch call and you want to do another one, let's set it up. Let's get this thing popping, and let's launch this thing into the stratosphere. Have a good night, guys.